Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Instability podcast, a fitting title considering my upload schedule. Today on this podcast, we usually just talk about whatever we want, mostly nerdy stuff, sometimes Doctor Who, sometimes cosplay, or whatever we feel like. It's that kind of podcast. For today's episode, we have a few topics. But for now, I'm joined by two lovely people, a TikTok sensation who's mainly known for having his shirt off. We have the lovely Rhodes.
I have no idea how to respond to that, except yes, I coined Who Trap. I coined Who Trap despite not being sexy. So, but yes!
Wait, who says you're not sexy?
I say I'm not sexy.
I think you and myself and your wife beg to differ.
And me. Anyway, and...
I say that platonically.
That's fine. Our lovely second guest, mostly known for cosplaying the 13th Doctor, eating loads of sweets, being a genuinely lovely person, but I sometimes know her as being dressed as a nun from horror movies.
I can't believe you watched that. I cannot believe you watched that.
You're signing it when I meet you next month.
Oh my God, you did it!
I own it physically. We're joined by the lovely Katie Haynes as well.
You own it. Somebody I know owns it. Oh my God.
Fun fact, I can't decide if Katie works better as the 13th Doctor or as Castiel. I can't decide.
Oh my God, you know about that too.
I just can't get over the fact Katie probably walked past me as Castiel, and I never would have known at the time.
It's all good.
Good. So, this podcast won't always be Doctor Who focused, but the amount of Doctor Who stuff that's been happening over the past couple of days, I think it's fair we have a few things to talk about. Now, I was going to jump into this by just talking about the return of a certain person, but literally moments ago, we've just seen the Series 13 trailer. Thoughts, my friends?
I'm going to let Katie speak first because Katie is probably more excited than I am.
Just give me. I've spent 2 years without more Jodie. No, that's a lie. When did season 12 ended?
Started 2020.
Started 2020.
Yeah, that's when it started. So you've probably been about a year and a half.
Year and a half. And this feels like one of those things where go big or go home. And actually this week, since for people who know, I will be visiting the UK from the 26th to the 15th. I've been rewatching series 11 and 12, and this feels like we go big or go home. I just really hope now, as they have Doctor Who, as I understand, as a new Whovian, Jed and George, you may be able to comment on this. They have not done a serial series like this, possibly since the original. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3 parters. I'm talking about a series.
Not since Trial.
Trial of the Time Lord. Trial of the Time Lord was the only time that a single story lasted an entire
season.
There have been series long arcs before. There have been very, very long stories.
Like obviously Big Finish do it quite a lot, but in terms of the actual show, in terms of the new series, this is the first time we are having one big long story for an entire season.
So I am hyped. I want to see more of Jodie in the spotlight. One of my favorite episodes that a lot of people don't like, but I really love this episode, is the Saranga conundrum. And that I think really shows her at one of her best points. I love her performance in that. It shows her love for the TARDIS. It shows that the Doctor can be selfish. Her excitement over tinier things. I want to see more of her in the spotlight. I realized last night when I did my thank you video, I didn't address the new companion. That's only because I don't know him that well yet. I want to see her and Yaz's relationship flesh out. I want to know what the flux is. And yeah, I did the joke. Flux is actually not a big thing over here in the US. So I know that the UK people probably got a good kick out of it, but the card game. But I really just, I want to see them have fun with this, and I want to see them really go for the gold. If this is going to be obviously with COVID restrictions, I don't know if they could have even done a full series, even if they wanted to. I don't know, but I
definitely think with the timing of everything, I think because I'll bring this up later in the video, but I definitely think it's just a case of COVID has hit this series hard. But I think from this trailer, I think they're definitely making the best of what they can. Right,
and I really just want them to I just want to enjoy it. This is a selfish wish, but I want to enjoy it. I'm not going to fake enjoying it because if it's not good, I'll probably love Jodie. But fun fact, you guys, I feel Kerblam is very hit or miss. And I think there are a lot of instances in Kerblam that were missed. I have very odd opinions about Series 11. I enjoy most of it. I have said it before and I will say it again. I don't think the finale is a bad episode. I just think it shouldn't have been the finale. It should have been
it's an episode. It's not a finale. It doesn't.
No, it's an episode. It's not a finale. I feel that it takes you away should have been split into 2 parts, where she had spent more time with the Solitract, and it had we saw more of her, and we saw her, making a connection with the creature, with the Solitract, with the frog, but also feeling her connection with her family. Is Series 11 the best? No. Is Series 11 bad? Hell no. Again,
I think that's a definitely fair way to look at that, and I think, like, spoilers here. Like, I know me and Katie are a lot more like positive about the Chris Chibnall era and like the Jodie era than Jed is, and that's not me. I think Jed, it's safe to say you have a lot more criticisms than we do.
I'm just sort of sitting here. I'm sort of sitting here thinking about how I've reacted to the trailer that's just dropped, thinking about how I've reacted to this era in total, and thinking, how do I have this conversation without
I think the thing is, I think we can all agree here. It's like Katie was saying, like, she just wants to like enjoy it. I think we can all agree, just because like you have an issue with a series or something does not mean you are a hater about it. Or even if you have one flaw, it doesn't mean you do not love the series or anything like that. So, like we say, I love Kerblam. Like Katie just said, she finds it hit or miss. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and say, "Oh, you hate the era." It just means, no, you have criticisms. I think,
and to be 1,000,000% fair, we need to be, Jed, just give us your open, just go for it. Because if we sit here and we say, oh, everything's good, but then you say your opinion and we say, no, you're wrong. That's not okay.
That's not what we're here for. Like
right.
I said
So Jed,
this is a safe space.
Yeah.
Okay. I watched that trailer and I don't give a shit. And that's a really harsh way of saying it. I don't like Chibnall's writing. I think Jodie can be very good. I have, generally speaking, found that Jodie's entire era has been massively underwritten, and I have. The thing is, there was this great 5-hour essay by a YouTuber called JXE, which I think is like really good at laying out a lot of the reasons that I have for not liking the show in its current state. And I'd hate to start repeating the points that thing made, because that was a 5-hour bloody essay.
Right.
But the thing is, like, fundamentally, I feel like the 13th Doctor is massively underwritten, especially when you consider how great a performer Jodie Whittaker actually is. Yes. Like in other stuff, Jodie Whittaker's a fucking legend. I have had a lot of issues with the portrayal of the Doctor. I feel like they've neutered the character at the point of transition between Capaldi and Jodie, they neutered the character. They neutered a lot of the character's flaws, and they neutered a lot of the character's arrogance, and they neutered a lot of the they didn't neuter the character's arrogance so much as they neutered a lot of the arrogance, and what's left isn't called out as being arrogant. And I feel like there's a bit of moral cowardice in that, you know, they've tried their very best to make the character so likable that they've sort of forgotten that the Doctor can be a bit of an arsehole. They've lost the arsehole. The best writing for 13, the best performing for 13 for me was Villa Diodati, because holy shit, suddenly, like, you know, like everything about that episode sparked in a way that I felt the show hadn't sparked basically for the entirety of Series 11 that I saw. For the first time since it came back, I gave up on it halfway through. That's the honest truth.
That episode to me confirmed something. So basically, we were talking about Joe, but it's leading to what I said. I think we should discuss how we feel about the Jodie era as a whole and give some thoughts like that before we talk about the future. Right. But I do want to say one thing I've always loved, and you definitely get this with Series 12, especially the end few episodes, and it's my favorite thing. The way the 13th Doctor is usually shown is the way the 13th Doctor wants to be. That's the person she would like to present. But you have one where she snaps at Ryan, you know, in for the Diodati, you know, because she spends the whole like Series 11 and most of Series 12. We're a team. This is equal. We're a flat structure. And you have that moment. She's like, it's not equal. I am at the summit, and I was literally just sat there like, oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the thing though, is that, I mean, fundamentally, every problem that I have with the Chibnall era is Chibnall and the writing that Chibnall does, and I don't like it. I don't like him as a writer at all. I just, and the thing is, I cannot be excited about a 6-part story written entirely by him.
I'm sorry. I just want to stress this now to anyone listening. This should go without saying, but in this state, otherwise, we are not attacking anyone here as a person. We may give criticisms about, say, performance or writing. That is not us making comments on them as
I'd like to add another thing, and this is kind of a really fucking super important thing, right? I don't sit here not liking the show in its current form, thinking, God, isn't it great that I don't like it? I grew up on Doctor Who. I would love to be as enthusiastic about the current era as Katie and Georgia. I would fucking love to be that enthusiastic about it. The fact that I can't be breaks my fucking heart. All right, I don't want to be the person who's not happy with it. And I think if you do love it, having shit you love is brilliant. I love the fact that you guys love it. I love the fact that you guys really enjoy what's being done. Quite frankly, you know, I would prefer to like it. I can't be intellectually dishonest about it though, and I refuse to be, and I don't think anyone should have to be.
No, and you shouldn't. And I'm going to go on record that I agree both with Jed and with George on a couple of things. There are moments in the show that I will watch an episode and I will go like, God damn it, Chibs. No, that's not, she wouldn't say that. The Doctor wouldn't say that.
I think, Kerblam is probably a big one for that.
Kerblam here. Okay, so if I may,
please
go for it.
Quick tangent. There are beautiful dramatic moments in the show that I think that Chibnall knocks out of the park, and I love. That being said, Doctor Who is a sci-fi adventure show. It's not a drama. I think Chibnall shines in drama. There are performances in the show that are great, but it does need to have more emphasis on the sci-fi. I do not dislike Chibnall. I think his writing in particular episodes needs a lot of help. That being said, let's look at Kerblam. A lot of people like this episode. I personally don't, because for me, the message is muddled. There is a great performance by Jodie towards the end where she says what's true. People who use and people who misuse the systems, they're the problem. Now, the problem with that is that the main villain is, to quote my boyfriend, just a random millennial. Now it was clever how he was kind of written into the background and he popped up, and you can, kudos to the actor, you can see in his performance when Graham pops up, you can see a little bit of that fear in him.
It did help when on the second watch. I do get what you mean. There are little details.
That being said, there was no person on the other side of the spectrum. There was no big higher up figure who was taking advantage of the system. Had it been a dual setup where it was someone at the bottom who was trying to take advantage of the system and somebody at the top also trying to take advantage of the system, and it going to both ends.
So basically have it be more morally grey, because I do see what you mean, because the one employee that we do focus on, I can't remember her name. She's played by one of the actors from Coronation Street, and she does a great.
Kira Arlo, and the only the main. I love her.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. She's not portrayed as a bad person. So I do get what you're saying. It's very. Well, I wouldn't
My
say
problem. Sorry. You first.
No, it's just because I get what it paints one side in one direction, where I think what you're saying, Katie, and please tell me if I'm wrong, but it almost be like you almost want to be a bit more morally grey. Show both sides. Don't just show.
The main problem with that episode is that the guy who's doing it has a point. You have a corporation, and obviously, let's just say it what it is. Kerblam is Amazon. Let's just say it as it is. Kerblam is Amazon. But the guy who is infiltrating it and picking apart the system, he's saying it's only 10% of human workers. Only 10% of human workers. Most of the people on Kondoka don't have jobs. Had there been an executive or a figurehead along the lines,
give us a Jeffrey Bezos type.
Exactly, because quite frankly, why should I care that Jeffrey Bezos has gone into space when his workers are treated like garbage? I think give us an equal side of this. And I will carry this to my grave. Jed, you can slap me when you meet me. I enjoy Orphan 55. I do think it's a well done episode.
I don't have a problem with Orphan 55.
What?
I don't have a problem. Okay. I don't have a problem.
Cut out Jody. Cut out the last half of Jody's monologue. I think Orphan 55 is a good episode. I think Orphan 55 should have been in part of Series 11 rather than Series 12, because in Series 12 you have Praxeus, and Praxeus was really well done. I've actually rewritten the entirety of let's set this up here in Series 11. Let's cut and paste. I have done the machete order for Series 11.
Can we put a pin in that particular thought?
Yes.
Because I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. First off, I'd like to talk a bit about my thoughts on Kerblam, which is it's an episode which is frankly morally repugnant in the modern era. I'm a working class English bloke, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that the villain is a working class guy being exploited and trying to fight against being exploited, and that he's the villain, and the victim is the fucking roboticized Amazon from space. Fuck off. Sorry, yeah. I'm sorry. Like in the nicest fucking possible way. And here's the thing. You can slap me for this when we meet, Katie. I don't particularly like Rosa as an episode. In fact, I really don't like it, and I'll explain why. But that would be like having an episode where the fucking white racists are the sympathetic characters. Because it's like, I'm fucking sorry. Amazon and the entire exploitative nature of it, right, is disgusting. It's an actual fucking moral stain on the current state of capitalism.
I agree. I agree with Jed. I agree with Jed. I think on the one hand, the guy is trying to, I know a lot of people.
And then the doctor lets him die. And gives him a big telling off and does nothing to change Kerblam.
How this could have worked is almost, so, okay, I don't know if you've seen this episode, but I know Jed would have, but if you take the story Day of the Daleks, you have these guerrilla freedom fighters. They come back to try and stop an event, which we later find out them coming back is what caused it. But what I find interesting about that story is these characters, they will kill people who, in our perspective, have done nothing wrong, at least, yet. They are willing to do that. And it's one of those morally, you get why they're doing it, but it's the way they're going about it. And I think it would have been nicer. I like, as much as I love Kerblam, I do agree with you. It would have been nicer if you had this character, you know, even as a case of, yeah, he's not going about it in a good way. He is going to end up killing like loads of people.
Right.
But I think it would have been. But I think it would have been better if they maybe changed it. So I don't know. Had it be a case of, yes, you get why you do, but try and make him one more sympathetic. But maybe also don't have this plan B. I'm going to suddenly kill loads of people.
Exactly. And have somebody at the higher up be a villain as well. Have it be a two villain dual episode, morally gray.
Because I think say what you want, but I think we can all definitely agree in this day and age, we know how corrupt companies are.
Exactly.
We know, like, it's not even a secret anymore, to the point, as much as, you know, things get covered up for PR, everyone's aware. Like, no one looks at Jeffrey Bezos and thinks, oh, he's probably such a down-to-earth guy, which is a really bad pun because he's been to space, but still.
It is penis rocket.
You two are looking at one of the biggest Disney fans on the planet and someone who loves Disney World and Disneyland. They treat... This is why if you in any sense purposefully cause harm to a Disney cast member, I will find the Jadoon and I will have you locked up in Storm Cage. They treat their workers horribly.
I hear loads of like the people who work at Disneyland, or former employees, because I know they can say some rich, but like former employees, and with how strict things had to be. It's one of these things. It's like that Family Guy joke where they're in the copyright-free equivalent of the Small World ride.
Yeah.
And the joke is it's children of different races all like chained up to have to perform, and it's like, keep singing, and we know that as much as I'm okay. I love Disney a lot. Like, you know, I love a lot of the programming. It's a big part of my childhood. It's still a big part of my life now. But it's like the amount of things, you know, is that I hear is the fact that I love a show called The Owl House, and the fact that only now we getting like proper LGBT plus like characters,
exactly,
like cartoon, and not having it be the biggest of deals, but the fact you know what I mean, like obviously it's a big deal because it's good to have good representation, but in the sense of I see like a lot of old shows that like, look, this person's gay, they are gay, this is their only character trait, instead you are actually having it being like, yeah, they're gay, that's it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the way it should be. By the way, Disney, LGBTQ plus prince or princess or king or queen now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, now.
I think we're running now into the problem of art and capitalism.
Yes,
and art.
yeah.
God love that one. And that's one that we could be stuck on all day.
I think that's definitely something for another podcast, perhaps. But yeah.
All this came down to Kerblam. If you want
all this came down to Kerblam and its shilling for Amazon.
So just to, because I'm sure some points we had, so we can wrap this up. But one thing, just to try and get us a bit back on track from the capitalism, because I feel we could definitely talk about that all day. I feel we're all very passionate about that. I think, regardless of opinion, or whether you particularly like the era or not, or Joe's performance, I think we can all agree she's not exactly been treated fairly by. I'm not going to say
okay.
It's a vocal part, and I mean when I just was like when she first got announced, like I hold my hands up. I didn't particularly want a female doctor. It's not because I didn't think one could do it. I was just used to I was just like, the doctor's a bloke. The doctor is a very typical, you know, not gun-toting hero, and it was quite nice as a boy to have that. But the thing is, I've always thought, yeah, a woman could easily do a job. And then Jodie comes along, and I absolutely adore her. But I think what hurts me, and I think has never stopped, is the fact the moment she got announced, people were judging her there and then. Like I saw like loads of memes, and I know it sounds stupid because it's just memes, but like she was doing one show, and one of the lines she says is in the show, I'm not a real doctor, and everyone was screenshotting that saying, "Oh, at least someone admits it." And I'm just like, "Oh, for God's sake, she hasn't even done a trailer."
Okay. What's the best way of putting this? I look at that and I think it's sort of played up a bit in the media how bad that was, because let's be clear here, every single doctor since Eccleston and probably before that has had people making absolutely fucking awful comments about their appearance, about how good they're going to be. Like, I have been around this fandom, and the thing is, yeah, it's obviously there's the odd misogynist troll and there's the odd person who's making Nurse Who jokes and other nasty shit like that. It's played up a bit in the media to sort of make fandom look bad, and I think the thing is, this era isn't treated badly by and large because of the fans. This era is treated badly because the fucking BBC categorically has been failing Doctor Who.
Oh, the BBC probably hasn't helped it, but I mean, I've gone from a perspective of not so much what the media. I've gone from what I've seen myself, because I agree. The media can, hype up a lot and hype up or make things bigger than they are. But I'm going by like stuff I've actually seen, like on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I don't mind legitimate criticisms. I've had people like one of my best mates literally came to me the day after Jodie got announced and said, I didn't particularly, I thought it would be a bloke again, but you know what? She's a good actress. I'll give her a shot. Mm. And I was like, cool. Like, whether you, and I think the one thing that really starts to show is how, and again, this is going by what I've seen myself. I'm not going by like any media stuff. It's the fact I have seen literal people writing death threats because they blame Jodie for the plots. And like, I know it's just trolls. I know it is trolls. But you know what? You just sit there and you think.
But that's happened to all of them. That's happened to all of them, though.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
It's just been a lot more vocal. Like, I've heard. I think at least that's what I'm finding. It's a lot louder.
Having been in this fandom since Eccleston left, having been on the internet fandom since then, no, the vile comments have always been there, and the vile comments have always been pretty fucking vile, and the vile comments have I mean, I don't know if you knew this, George, and you certainly won't have known this, Katie. Colin Baker, when he took over the role and the show was going a bit downhill, a fanzine in Liverpool made shitty comments about the fact that his baby son had cot theft. It soured his relationship with Liverpool ever since.
Wait. So, first of all,
his child died, and a fanzine made very nasty comments about, oh, he's such a shit doctor. It's a good job his son died, or something to that effect. So for me, knowing what I know about fandom, knowing what I know about the difference between that and today is you don't need a fanzine. The internet exists. All right. Jodie getting death threats is horrifying, disgusting, and a sad indictment of certain kinds of entitled fanboy. But it's not a new phenomenon. It's not something that
I know.
The fact that she's a woman has meant that different vile, disgusting human beings have crawled out of the woodwork to be horrible about her. But let's be clear here. It's an unfortunate and toxic underbelly of all fandom.
It just felt, and I don't know if you two would agree or you two have seen this like I have, but it felt like she couldn't do anything without people saying it's wrong. I remember I don't think she could actually be there, but she did an appearance. It was either on Children Need or Red Nose Day. She did a lovely video message for a young fan. And I saw the amount of comments saying, "Oh, it's staged," and stuff saying, "Oh, I had someone there saying, well, yeah, they were telling the kid you need to look excited and stuff." And it's all BS, it's all that. But when I just sat there and I thought, can you not do anything right in your eyes?
I think there's a lot of negative discourse around this era.
Yes, I agree. And
the thing is, I think fundamentally what that comes down to is probably about 10 to 15%. It is just absolute toxic arseholes. Yeah. Probably a good of that, I'd say half of that at least is misogynistic. A lot of it is toxic reactions to disappointment, like my disappointment. People who feel, as I do, that the show is in a very, rough patch at the moment, and their reaction to that is because fandom gets highly emotive about these things. nasty as fuck. You see it on literally every video, every Twitter stream. People are commenting that this era is subpar. I think, by and large, the criticisms that these people have might well be genuine, but they are being expressed in a in an absolutely fucking awful way.
Yeah.
Which, you know, and the thing is, like, that for me is frustrating because as somebody who has legitimate criticisms of a fuck ton of modern sci-fi media, like I have legitimate criticisms of the modern eras of Star Trek, Star Wars.
Not David Tennant. If any of you have seen the movie Tennant.
Yeah. But this is it, is that, you know, having legitimate criticism is more difficult when there are so many people being arseholes about it.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, though, we've got to come back to the fact that the show is being treated fucking awfully. And here's the thing. It is a damning indictment of the BBC, their attitude to Doctor Who and their attitude to Jodie's era in particular, that when the pandemic happened and they decided to do this big multimedia spin-off thing, you know, that was like this really huge thing.
Yeah.
They put David Tennant front and center.
Oh,
yes.
you're talking about the
you wouldn't
Time Lord
fucking
Victorious.
know. You wouldn't fucking know from that. Like it's not just that. Like, look at Doctor Who Lockdown. Jodie's Doctor appears in that multi-Doctor thing, but apart from that, again, it's all mostly Tennant focused.
Yeah.
You know, and the show basically, the people who run it, the BBC, have been navel gazing about the Tennant era for ages and ages, which, you know, I think, considering who's coming back, that's a good place to dovetail into a certain somebody's return, if that's okay with you, George.
Absolutely. I'm not George. What am I talking about?
I think I just want to get Katie's thoughts first of all. Just so, do you think, you know, Jodie has been up against it a bit, you know, since coming into it, or this era as a whole? Like, what do you think?
I think so. That being said, I purposefully, because of my own emotions and my own mental health, I try to avoid that as much as possible. So I won't, like, you know, I saw pictures of Jodie at the wrap party last night, and I was really happy about those.
Dressed as Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I'm sorry.
Best thing ever.
Yeah.
Best thing ever.
And can we, no matter what, Chris Chibnall dressed as like a bland man.
That was amazing.
Well done,
Chib. I think Jodie was up against a lot. I think there is just a ton. I think there is a ton of hate going her way that is very much undeserved. I think that the criticisms are much more about the writing, as they should be. I think she's doing a great job with what she's given. That being said, you know, it's all dependent on the fan, and it's all dependent upon your reaction. You know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Peter Capaldi is a phenomenal doctor. He's not my favorite.
No.
But does that mean I hate it? No.
I think just going on that is actually something I did want to bring up. It's the fact that whether you had like fair criticism, not like attacking anyone, not doing anything like that.
Right.
If you voiced them, you were suddenly seen as a non-fan or being like trolls.
And that,
or,
yes,
for example,
that
if,
is
if
the
point. If you
it's
just express like a basic, like, you know, a basic defense of Jodie's, or even if you said, oh yeah, well, you know, I didn't particularly like this episode, but I still really like, you know, Jodie's Doctor.
You know, that's why I'm always afraid to say, you know, if you say a certain doctor is not your favorite, Tennant is not my favorite, Peter is not my favorite. They are phenomenal. They are phenomenal doctors. My doctors are 13, 8, and 11. But it's like this idea, and you see this in every fandom, every single fandom on the planet, be it comic books, films, movies, the idea of, oh, you're a fake fan.
I hate that.
That to me is the most disgusting, vile thing that can come out of anyone's mouth. Because quite frankly, if you in one of the most, obviously, if you're a racist,
related to the topic,
if you're a casual fan of something, Like if someone says to me, oh yeah, I enjoy Disney, I'm not as big into it as you, but I enjoy it, then you're a fan. If someone says I enjoy DC, I'm a diehard DC fan, they're a fan. If you enjoy something and you're a fan of it, then I don't give a damn who you are. You could be Jeff Bezos, you could be whoever. If you say to somebody, you're a fake fan, and if you're a fan,
if you enjoy something, no matter, because I think like I'm quite passionate about this. I had like my little cousins. They got into Doctor Who. They wanted me to show them what they. I knew they'd only want to watch a new series. That was not an issue for me. I have people who like do not like watching classic Who. It's just because it's not their thing. Fine.
Right.
If someone said to me, "Do you think it's worth watching?" I say yes. Okay. I love Big Finish. I am obsessed. I consider most Big Finish stuff canon. I know people who have never even listened to Big Finish. If they say to me, would you recommend it? I'd go, sure. If they say, do I have to? No. Yeah. You can be a fan. Like, I know people who have just jumped on for Jodie's era.
Yeah.
And they're fans. I don't look at them and think. I think one thing we can all agree, I think it's having discussions about the show, or at least in some sense, has become a bit less fun. Like, for example, me and Jed have Jed has wildly different opinions, like to you and me, Katie.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we all have wildly different opinions to each other. But I can say them to you, and you guys know I'm having a discussion. I'm not here saying you are wrong. I think that's something that I think was getting lost a bit, like for a while, because of the internet age. I think that has been becoming a lot harder just to have a conversation about the show and it not seem like you're suddenly doing anything. But I definitely think it's become more.
That is a situation that is common to all the fandoms.
I definitely agree. I've just noticed it more within.
And I noticed
it during like late Matt Smith's era, when like I said, it does go when I was more on the internet, was more active on the internet.
Right.
But it is just something I've noticed, and I just find a lot of people are scared to voice either a positive or negative opinion, and this is why I started this podcast. I want this to be a safe space that, like,
exactly.
And
additionally, you are allowed to have good opinions about something you don't like, or B, you're allowed to have negative opinions about something you do like. Like I said, I don't particularly enjoy Kerblam as an episode. I enjoy series 11. And here's another argument. If you haven't watched something, or if you haven't gotten into something, that doesn't mean that you think it's bad or you don't enjoy it. Because there's that argument if someone says, oh, I haven't watched this, or I haven't watched this. Oh, you haven't? What's wrong with you? Cool your jets.
Only so many hours in the day, people.
I have that reaction with friends. Like, I have that reaction with friends because they know, like, I've never watched Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
right.
And I told Jed this a few nights ago.
Yeah, the movie, is there a series, or is it a movie? Just the movie?
There was a series.
Oh, I didn't know there was a series.
Okay. It is concurrently a book series, a radio play, a television show, and there was the movie, and you need to do it all. Because,
perhaps if me and Katie watch this, watch it or read it, we will come back and do a podcast about Hitchhikers. But
sorry,
I do know this so long, and thanks for all the fish song.
One thing I do.
Oh, my sweet summer children!
If anyone agrees with me on this, because I get with. And I think we will go on to the next topic soon, but I do want to ask this point because I'd love to get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
When everyone says, and I agree, the Series 5 feels like the Matt Smith's first series feels like a very fresh start for the show, but it still feels like a natural continuation. And I agree. I think Series 11 tried to replicate that, but I think the issue is, I've almost said, if you swapped Series 11 and 12 around almost, I'm not like to an extent, because I feel Series 11 wanted to be very, very different.
Yes, that is true.
I don't mind that. I think, a new showrunner should try and, have a fresh take on a show. I think, and I completely respect that. What I feel is, at least to me, people may disagree, and that's fine. It's just Series 11 feels like such a quick change, if that makes sense. Just I kind of just the vibe of the stories or the tone. I can't explain it. Like, to me, series 12 feels more like it has more what I call traditional New Who, but still feels like the changes of the Chibnall era. It almost feels like if you had that kind of tone for series 11, it feels like a much more natural thing. I think, like, to the extent series 11 and feels very distinct.
Yes.
But I do get the thing of it does feel like quite a change, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but I do, it can feel quite quick.
I agree with that. I do.
Okay, so master's degree in writing head on now.
So, and this is audio, so you can't see this, but he does have a very smug look on his face.
Oh, here we go. I'm going to sit off to the side on this one.
Okay, so leaving aside my personal criticisms of the Chibnall era as a whole, one of the mistakes that Series 11 makes, like from an objective standpoint, is it doesn't have anything familiar at all. And that is a mistake because you'll know, if you go back in history, every single Doctor and every single new Doctor, to some degree or another, has had some familiar thing or another in their first series.
Look at Colin Bacon. Look at Colin Bacon. Colin Bacon's? Colin Baker's. Colin Baker's first season. You have like Cybermen, Daleks, the Master.
Yeah.
This is something. No, because this is the thing. John Pertwee reintroduces the unit family. Tom Baker's first series, Cybermen, Daleks, Santarans, and again, the unit family. Peter Davison's first series, all right? Again, you've got the Cybermen and the Master.
Got the Master.
Yeah, exactly. Every single time, all right, you have to have something that couches it in the familiar, because every single time, and especially with Jodie, this is the big thing, all right? They focused far too much on the fact that, it's different, which, let's be clear here. It was a risk. It was a fucking risk. And when you're taking that kind of risk, the last thing you want to do is alienate your audience by going, there is nothing familiar about this at all. Because think what you lose between Series 10 and Series 11. Completely different composer with a completely different style, which is brand new for New Who. Because we've never had a new composer in New Who. We've always had Murray Gold's distinctive style lacing us through this. So we've lost Murray. We've got a brand new Doctor and brand new TARDIS team. All right. And brand new everything. And at no point during that first series do you have familiar enemies, familiar, like characters showing up. All right. Familiar, like the only time you get that is.
Yeah,
exactly. And the thing is, you need a sense of that continuity in order to be able to ground the series. So even like Matt Smith's first series, again, the Daleks, and then there's the fucking Pandorica story, the Weeping Angels. And the thing is as well, like structurally, Matt's first series, I actually have to admit this, when that first aired, I was slightly like, this doesn't feel that different, and I'm kind of bored of this format now. That's how I was feeling during Matt's first series. It's a great series, but by the time you get to the Silurian two-parter, I was a bit like, yeah, actually, I'm kind of bored of it feeling exactly the same now. And it was only when it got to the end of that series and it started doing the radical shifts away from the paradigm that we previously had that I was like, oh, okay, I see where it's going. You were talking earlier about the machete ordering, Katie, where you were like chopping up. And the thing is, I think personally, like obviously you can disagree with me. I think personally, if you have to chop something up in order to give it an ideal order, if you have to reorder it, something has gone wrong structurally. The fact that, and the thing is, structurally as well, Series 11 fails because, fails for me, I should clarify, because there's no arc. Arcs are actually kind of important in modern serialized storytelling. The character arcs are okay. I will give it that. There are actually some decent character arcs. Clumsily handled. I feel like the character arcs are sort of clumsily handled by Chibnall's classic, let's take 5 minutes away from the plot to have a character arc moment.
That is true.
That's kind of his shtick. I'm not a fan of that. I can see why other people would be a fan of that. I personally don't like that. But the thing is, the fact that the recurring villain of Series 11 is
Tim
Shaw. No. Can I say something actually?
Go ahead.
One thing that feels really undoctorish about the Doctor.
I know what this is.
Yeah, her refusal to call him by his real name. That's racist. Why is the Doctor being racist to the bad guy? Seriously, why is the Doctor being racist to the bad guy? That's fucking awful. That's fucking awful. I'm sorry. Like, I get that that's probably not something that Chibnall thought of. It's probably just a really funny joke because she's Yorkshire. But no, that's actually really fucking racist. His name is Sim Shah, and he's an alien from an alien culture. Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Oh my God.
Misnaming him in a really
I
racist
need
way
to say
is
one thing
okay.
that bugged me
Okay.
the moment he was introduced. Like, Tim Shaw to me feels literally like the example of, can we have the Centaurans? We have Centaurans at home. Centaurans at home. Like, look, I am a warrior. I'm on the hunt. I'm like, you could have been a Centauran.
He's so bland. And like, the thing is, he's so bland. And he's Jodie. Okay, Jodie's. There is one thing I will give Series 12, and that is that it is, to me, considerably better in a lot of respects. I have issues with it, but like Series 11 is just is really bland by comparison because it's just lacking in giving her confrontation, giving her really like.
Yeah.
So I said earlier, and I said I'd come back to this, that I hate Rosa. I hate Rosa because of Krasko. I fucking hate Krasko because he's emblematic of everything wrong with Series 11, which is give me villains who are actually threats. Give me villains who actually... And the worst thing about Krasko, sorry to go off on a random tangent, as a sci-fi concept, in the 41st century, you're being really cynical about the human race and saying that boring old white supremacism is still going to exist by the 41st century. B, you're going to suggest that in a future where people are fucking poodles, where there's murder rehab, where there's omnisexual people in time machines and Chula warships and threesomes are a common thing, you're going to suggest that in that future, there are still going to be boring old white supremacists? Like, I'm sorry, I can buy future bigotry. I can buy, like, anti-human bigotry. Or you know what? Maybe Krasko is actually racist against anyone with natural skin tones. All right, that would have been fucking hilarious. Have it that he's wearing a perception filter and his real skin is blue and he hates everybody with natural human skin tones. All right, that would have been fucking better than he's a boring old white supremacist making pops about people's kind. I'm sorry, no, as a sci-fi concept, he fails miserably. Rosa would have been a million times better, all right, if it had been a pure historical. And I am not alone in thinking that. A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
I actually want to come to that because it was something that Katie brought up earlier, which I think was a really good point. One story I absolutely love is Demons of the Punjab. And I feel if that was just pure historical, if you did not, I get the whole thing that the aliens were not meant to be the bad guys. I completely, and I like that. But I was just watching that, and every time it got, because I'm like, I like that. I like it when you have, just because they're aliens doesn't mean they're bad. And I think I like it when Doctor Who does that, especially when you have ones that are maybe made to look more like they do look quite, threatening. But I think it goes with what you were saying about the writing. When he does family stuff, it's pretty like this as a drama, like as a if this was a pure historical, it's like a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Like honestly, parts of Rosa were, and I mean this as a compliment in a way, it's not something I would choose to sit down and watch lightly. It's as uncomfortable for me in places as Joaquin Phoenix's Joker was.
Yeah.
It has that raw element. It's not comfortable viewing.
Right.
And if it's not trying to be, I don't mean that. The thing is, it is not trying to be comfortable. So good. It's not trying to be comfortable. It's telling very serious things. It ruins itself.
Like the fact. Now the three of us in this podcast, we're all white.
Yep.
And
I would at this 1 second like to point out for those who don't know, historically, Rosa Parks was not the first Black woman to give up her seat on a bus.
This is true.
That is Claudette Colvin.
Yeah, I think this is a thing that pops up actually a lot, is that one criticism that I thought was interesting is that it sort of heavily simplifies the foreplanned nature of it. Like the fact that this is a planned thing that she did. That's the whole point of that famous, the famous not standing up thing was planned. And there was a whole system being planned of, this is a proper protest. We're going to properly protest this shit.
Yes.
Really, really cleverly thought out. And it's kind of,
the drunk history episode actually really, and I'm not saying take drunk history as real history, but the drunk history episode that covers Claudette Colvin and Rosa Parks, actually addresses this really well. I mean, I love Rosa, but it is historic in the concept of itself. It's pseudo historical fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the thing is,
historical
you know,
to me, I find, and please tell me if you guys agree or disagree, but I quite like the idea of pseudo historical. I like it when it's good enough where it makes you want to learn more about the real event.
Exactly, and I do think
that's what I found
I
with
think
Hamilton.
Demons of Punjab does that well. I knew nothing about the apartheid of India. I knew nothing about it.
It's a very important part of people's history and culture. I think that is something that I find very interesting. I think as well.
Never would have learned about that in American school unless I took a specific class. Never touched upon.
But it goes by. So the thing is, a big thing, and it's going back to Rhodes for it, a big thing this gets criticised for, and in a lot of ways, I think unfairly, everyone says, "Oh, it's too politically correct." Doctor Who has always been political.
It's always been politically correct.
Okay,
always.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Is it too politically correct? No, it's telling. I think the villain doesn't help that by being two-dimensional.
No. This is the generalized argument.
The generalized argument is, as you quite rightly point out, bollocks. I think that's. I mean, to be honest, anyone who thinks that Doctor Who isn't political probably should go back and watch The Sunmakers.
Go back and I've only watched a couple of the classic Who episodes, but God Almighty, this show has.
Watch the Green Death, people.
You literally
the Daleks were originally a political commentary.
And if you go back and watch a Daleks Invasion of Earth, like the TV story, not the film, you literally have the Daleks going around, moving their plungers up and down in a Nazi very salute. Nazi.
Here's the thing though. All the best sci-fi is a very clever way of talking about the world today. Like the Cybermen are a very real, commentary on replacement part surgery, which was a very genuine fear at the time. And the Cybersmen of 2006 were reimagined as this sort of, notion of us and our relationship with technology. So the notion that it can be too political, is patently false. Is it poor in its execution? Nowhere near as bad as Arachnids in the UK, which is fucking awful for its political commentary.
The one thing I will say, and it goes back to something, again, Kate's making a lot of good points because she's Katie, so of course she is.
Thank you.
But you have Orphan 55 and then you have Praxeus. Two stories in the same season trying to say the exact same message.
They should have been split up. I completely
agree. But one thing I quite like, and again, going back to Rosa, is the fact. So again, like I said, we're all white. Two of us in here are, white males.
Exactly.
And it's the case of, I am never going to sit here and claim I, for a moment, understand what it's like to be, judged for the color of my skin.
1,000% agree.
No, I am not going to say it. I have friends who have gone through things like this, and I can't sit there and say I understand. I can say that I support. But the fact, one thing I found quite interesting amongst people when I watched people talk about this episode, there was that people of color, saying how it affected them, how they liked how it was handled, and how they liked how it addressed saying, "Oh, the future ain't perfect. It's arguably better, but it's not perfect." And they like the fact they didn't gloss it up and say everything's better in the future. We're all equal. They liked the fact it was that realness, and I like the fact it did make me feel like, damn, this is what people were acting like. Like I quite liked the fact I got that reaction from Doctor Who, and it was actually leading to these talks. I mean, especially considering what followed a couple of months afterwards in terms of real life events. I think it was a very good thing to have, like, with the conversation. And sorry, Kate.
No. I interrupted you.
No, I was just going to say, I think, as like people may say, "Oh, Doctor Who's too political," I don't think it is. Again, I think it's more execution than anything. But I think the thing is, we should. TV shows should make us have these discussions. They should make us think, especially everyone goes, Doctor Who's a kids show or it's a family show, whatever it is. Good. Get people talking about this. Let young people see this is what the past was like. We can make things better.
Yes. There will never be a time. I pray there will never be a time where I can watch Rosa and feel comfortable watching Ryan get slapped. Because that is.
But again, I literally had someone make a comment to me at my work, and I'm not saying this in a way to get. Like we said, you can watch one episode, and if you like it, you can be a fan. I'm not saying that, but I have people at work who mainly have it on in the background, and they mainly go by their own admission, by what they hear in the media. In terms of the show, I'm not judging them as people, but they came up to me and they said to me, "Do you think they really should address that? Or don't you think it's a bit weird having this?" I'm like, "Hang on, you take a person of color and put them in that situation in that time period. Yes, it's historically accurate that this is how it's going to be. I don't think it works when you act like, I think again,
you can't new to the past.
No,
you can't new to the past.
Yeah, if you erase the past, you're doomed to repeat it. And this is why I think it's important we do get reminders sometimes.
You know, for the people who are pissed off that Orphan 55 is, you know, too political. We are still arguing about the washing up while the house burns down, people. We are still having over in the United States, we are having meetings about whether or not kids should be forced to wear a piece of cloth over their masks to protect themselves and their fellow classmates. And it's been made political. You can all hate me, but we are still arguing about the washing up while the house burns down. The last half of that monologue should have been cut, but we are still arguing about the washing up while the house burns down.
I think we can definitely disagree. I think the best way to kind of sum this section up is that you can disagree with the way the politics or the political issues have been handled, but I don't think anyone can sit here and say, "Oh, it's political correctness gone mad." I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
We're going a bit more positive, and I'm sorry, Jed, you have something to say because you have something to say before I go on to the next.
Oh no, not at all.
No, I was just going to say, I think on a positive note, I think the show's never looked better. Like, just the filming of it, it looks like that opening shot, where it kind of like pans across, the woman who fell to earth. The show looks gorgeous.
Oh, it is. It is.
Is that a good thing? Okay. So this is a perfectly personal gripe. Doctor Who to me is B-movie campness in a handbasket. And I think Doctor Who fails when Doctor Who tries to be like its American counterparts, because American shows have more money and they will always have more money. And I think Doctor Who cannot ever compete with what the Americans are trying to do in their shows. And I think the more it tries to go for slick production values and forgets that the entire reason that people in America loved Doctor Who before it came back was because they watched it on PBS and it was janky shit. It was janky shit, but it was janky shit that had a certain charm and je ne sais quoi that, Doctor Who's basically lacked since it came back in 2005. Sorry, new production photos?
New production photos just dropped, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, it's a towel. Sorry, that's a Warhammer joke right there.
Yes.
So I think we can sum up basically this before now we go into the next bit. But love it or hate it, I think we can all just agree with the Jodie era. Let people have their opinions and just don't be a dick about it.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, I'm going to echo what you guys were saying in a really weird way. I too want to like this last 6 episodes. I want whatever I have hated about the last 2 seasons to go away so that I can
want to enjoy it.
I want to enjoy it. I don't want to hate Doctor Who.
Don't attack people personally just because you don't like their writing.
Exactly.
Jodie is an actor. She's doing a job. Okay, don't attack her because you don't like certain things. And if you
Yes.
don't like, and this is the thing with Doctor Who, and I get, while it's happening, it's very hard, like if you're not enjoying it, but the thing with Doctor Who, it's so different if you really look at it. Each different era is different, each different like writer feels different. Something else is coming along.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean you're in the wrong for disliking bits. You're not wrong for just saying that you don't like things, unless you're outright being an asshole.
Yes.
I think we can all agree. But yes. But now,
before we change the topic, can I do one thing that I do on every single podcast that will only take 2 minutes?
Do what you need to do.
Oh. And now she's going to show off a geeky collection of things.
If you need something to change your mind about 13,
The Titan comics.
I swear by these. I swear. This is my Good Omens Bible. This is my Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman bless the pages, even though they're not the writers. But this is my
the holy scriptures of enjoying the 13th Doctor.
This is the
basically.
Holy scriptures of enjoying the 13th Doctor. This is pure love, pure perfection. And for all of you who are screaming, yes, there he is. There they are. But this is perfection.
Okay, one thing that I'm going to say is if you find it difficult to enjoy the 13th Doctor, as I have, for any reason, just watch Katie's videos. So I give zero shits about whether I like Doctor Who at this point, because I know my kids really love the 13th Doctor's era. But let's be clear about something here. My kids' first introduction to the 13th Doctor proper was by Katie giving them a birthday video. And Katie is probably closer to girl Doctor Who for realsies to my kids than actual Jodie Whittaker is. And quite frankly, yeah.
I think
we need to get this woman being a canon Doctor at some point, because it's
well,
not fair.
if only there was an upcoming fan series that happened to feature this wonderful person known as Katie Haynes playing an incarnation of the Doctor. Shameless
If
plug.
only.
So I need to say, no matter what, if you dislike the 13th Doctor era, whatever, you just need to be. It gave us Katie Haynes TikTok content, possibly one of the loveliest human beings I have ever met in my life, and I cannot praise her enough. So thank God, thank Chibnall, thank Jodie for that.
Thank you.
Oh dear, that's not meant to happen this early in the encounter.
Oh!
Hey. No! Context. I'm not going to explain the context.
You cannot keep that in. You cannot keep that in.
Oh, I'm keeping it in.
You cannot keep that in.
So we've spoken about the Jodie era as far. I think now. Well, quite frankly, a little thing happened recently in Doctor Who news. It was announced Russell T Davies would be coming back. The Godfather.
I mean, he's a great. I was genuinely. I was like, oh, cool, that's awesome, and I did my video about it. And I can't say that I'm as a diehard fan of Russell as some, but I'm excited. I've heard that his production company is getting full control over it.
Yes, Bad Wolf Productions will now be taking over, and we do have a number of people returning to Doctor Who now, which will be quite interesting.
BBC will purely be a distributor.
Which I think's really weird to see the BBC not particularly involved in the production anymore. I think this is the first...
It's inevitable.
I think it was always something that could happen for sure. It's just very shocking to me. It's just something I didn't see coming, if that makes sense. But this might be a benefit. This might be a benefit. But so how are we all feeling then about, because it's been confirmed he will be returning for the 60th anniversary and then the following series, and I guess I'll go from there. So we know he's at least doing the 60th and series 14, because after series 13 for 2022, Jodie will be having 3 specials throughout the year.
Wait, she's getting 3?
Yeah.
That's
So what's happening? And this actually will.
No, this is the first time I'm hearing this. She's getting 3.
So in 2022, she is having 3 episodes, 3 specials, and with the assumption is the last one will be the regeneration.
She's filmed the regeneration.
And then that will
she's done an interview. She's filmed that.
Yeah, and then it's basically it's not been officially confirmed, but the way the marketing for the release of Russel Davies, like coming back, was announced, it does make it sound like the 60th will be a special, which makes it sound like that could be the 14th Doctor's first episode. But yeah,
I'm just gonna chug these right now. Enjoy.
Chug the sprinkles.
Chug.
And yes, my good friend, this is why. You always carry extras and sprinkles around with you.
You are armed with sprinkles. That is
You may chug the sprinkles. You may chug the sprinkles, Doctor. What you don't realize.
For the record, it is now headcanon that there is one cabinet in the TARDIS that is just completely full of sprinkles.
You may chug the sprinkles, Doctor, but what you don't realize is that I may have sabotaged one box of your sprinkles with a single micro-explosive sprinkle.
Why do I feel the moment that would make the 13th Doctor go Time Lord victorious is if all of a sudden
not
the
this
Master's
one.
tampered with her sprinkles. That's when she's like, right, I'm ending everything. The Time Lord will seem like nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Russell T Davies coming back. Because I was at work when I first saw this, so I didn't get to read it fully. I just thought he would be coming back to do the 60th. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. The guy who brought Doctor Who back for them on Age, I thought, that's really cool. And then it's like, no, he's back as the head writer. So I'm going to give my opinions on this first. Personally, I'm really, really excited. If this was, say, just after, say, series, like after Matt, I probably wouldn't be as excited, but the reason I am is because being able to like watch a lot more of the stuff Russell T Davies has done after Doctor Who and seeing how he's evolved as a writer, I'm actually so excited for him to come back. And I think he's definitely a safe pair of hands. I think you can take that in either direction of, he's a safe pair of hands, the show's going to be, really good, or he's a safe pair of hands, this will be decent. There are 2 ways you can look at that, but I think we can definitely say he knows what he's doing. But I think in the time he's been away, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to the show now, because like, so, It's a Sin, like Cucumber and stuff like that, all the stuff he's done. I'm really excited in that respect.
I know that it's not going to be this guy, but there is really one actor that I've seen that I would love to actually take on the role of the Doctor, although I'm certain it's probably not going to be this guy. Have either of you guys watched The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
My wife has.
I've heard of it, but I haven't got around to it yet. It is on my list.
The actor who plays, I'm going to Google Adventures of, here we go. I need to know I need to know this actor's name. Chance Perdomo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Now, he's a British American actor and he plays Ambrose Spellman in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Second I saw him, that to me is the perfect casting for the next Doctor. Even though it's probably not going to be him, but I really like, that is the actor who I would choose to take over.
Honestly, I think when it comes to actors, I think that's a whole video in itself.
Oh, like, yeah, you're
right.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it's
okay. It could work. I mean, but edges towards being too young, but to be honest, that's a whole conversation to be had in a minute when I start talking about Russell. So,
but Matt, that was the big argument with Matt, that he was too young. And I mean, you could make the argument that Capaldi was too old. And I the first few episodes didn't click with me. It was only until I saw him interact with a child that I was like, okay, he's the Doctor. We're in good hands.
See, this is a generational thing, I think, because to me, the Doctor is at his best when he is, your John Pertwee, your Tom Baker, older character. That's the Doctor to me.
One thing, Katie, when did you start watching Doctor Who? Like, what era did you start with? Did you start with 9, or did you?
I actually started with 9, and that is the one argument that I will make, that you do not skip 9. Agreed. You absolutely start with Eccleston, and then you move on to Tennant. I think Tennant do not get me wrong, I love David Tennant. He does get put up on a pedestal.
He's the poster child. He's the poster child for modern Doctor Who.
But I feel that is because of the fans. Because that was in some way. Now, do not, again, if we want to get into performances, he's not my favorite, but I swear by Capaldi's war speech. I swear by that speech. I swear by the Rings of Akatan speech. I mean, I love Tennant. The one speech I remember about Tennant is "I never would."
That leads to so you've obviously you've gone through the Russell T Davies era and you've seen that. So the idea of Russell coming back, how do you feel about this? Like, what's your opinion?
I mean, again, it's all we have seen him handle Who, and he's done it very well. Arguable. I see Jed's expression, and I'm like, for me, he did it very well. I'm one of these people who I know what I like and I know what I don't like.
Yeah.
As far as I remember, in terms of Russell's episodes, from his writing, I will probably enjoy them. But for me, it comes down, the thing about Doctor Who, for me, is that it comes down to the Doctor. And that's why I adore Jodie so much. That's why I adore Matt so much. That's why I adore, that is why I adore, I met him and I'm blanking. I am Paul. When I met Paul, that's why I enjoy Paul so much. For me, it comes down to the Doctor. So for me, it's one of the reasons I like Orphan 55 so much. I think Jodie does a really phenomenal job, even though a lot of people can perceive the episode as terrible. Oh, we lost him. We lost him.
I'm still here.
But I think I'm excited. I know he can write well. For me, ultimately, it comes down to the Doctor. That is purely me. That is purely Katie.
It feels like, and I think this is a completely fair way to look at it. I think it's you like it when you have a good writer behind it, but it's the character, I think, that draws you.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I might have a couple of shows, so I understand that. Jed, what about you? How do you feel about Russell coming back?
Russell T Davies is one of the finest writers in the entire UK writing fucking industry. He is massively competent, has always really deftly handled character, plot, and I think politics as well. Like, people who find the political side of Chibnall's era heavy-handed, Russell T Davies is able to weave that stuff in as strongly, but much more effectively, in my opinion. So on a fundamental level, I think Russell T Davies coming into the show is absolutely 110% going to be a perfectly sublime move. It's going to be amazing. He's going to do an excellent job. I had concerns that it would be a little bit similar to his previous run. It has been a long time since he did it, and obviously he's made comments in the media recently about how Doctor Who should be handled. If his production company has complete control, I am even more excited in that respect, because Russell T Davies already had the most force of personality of any of the producers that we've had, which is why he was able to do so much and push for so much, which I think is really, really good. I fundamentally disagree with Russell T Davies's philosophy on Doctor Who in a couple of really big ways. I fundamentally did not like the Time War as a concept because it put the Doctor, a fundamentally childhood hero, in the position of being first off, genocidal. He killed his own people. And second off, put him in the position of being turned into a Buffy/Angel style brooding hero figure.
I'd like to stress back on who comments, by the way. Yes, we know Dave the Doctor, for context, so it's not the case of that, but we're going by as presented during the era.
Yeah.
And the thing is, fundamentally, Russell T Davies modernized the show, which it needed to survive. That does not mean that I personally feel that those modernizations were necessarily to the show's benefit. And I've said to other people before that, to me, Doctor Who really didn't come back until Peter took over, because that was the first time that I felt like I was watching the character I grew up on. And it took that long for Doctor Who to shed the romantic subplots. It took that long for Doctor Who to shed the Buffy-isms to a certain extent. It was very much stuck in the Whedonism shadow. And I think that's, it's clever to do that, clever to modernize the show in that way. I feel like, Russell coming back, I don't know whether he would return to this notion of the Doctor, less as, weird, sciencey anti-hero and more as brooding, Buffy figure, Buffy/Angel type, male brooding figure, also brooding figure in general, I suppose. I am hesitant because I don't know how much of Russell's philosophy in how he handled the show was a product of having to bring the show back, and how much of that was a product of stuff he thought was really neat. That, and fundamentally, this is why I am cautiously optimistic, but I'm not going to sit here and expect for the show to suddenly rise from the ashes of my estimation to becoming the best thing on TV again. I can't. And the thing is, I can't do that to myself again. I can't come into Doctor Who with expectations ever again, because of the position it sort of used to hold for me. I refuse point blank to care about anything, on TV that much ever again, because everything that I used to care about as a kid has fundamentally disappointed me for the last 5-6 years. So I don't want to have high expectations, because if I get disappointed.
I'm going to say this one thing about the Russell T Davies theory, which I'm hoping does come back into what people are now calling
RTD2.
Yeah, which makes me happy.
Oh my God, I love it.
Is the fact I don't think Doctor Who has handled the family aspect of it as well since the Russell T Davies era, because you have the thing with Amy's parents where she's like, they were erased by the crack, then they're brought back at the end of series 5, and we never see them again. Like Rory's dad, my God, chef's kiss, beautiful, like Brian Williams all the way, love him. But I feel the whole kind of family relationships has never been as done as well as it was in the Russell T Davies era. Like with Bill, for example, you see her. I think it's her stepmother or her adopted
Foster.
Yeah, Foster. That's it. Yes, a foster mother. You see her in maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but there's not much there. And I'm thinking I would have liked to, because it's clear in the story. It's clear that from their reaction that their interaction, that Bill has not told her she is gay. And I'm thinking I would have liked to have seen that as a character moment. That would have been us just to see. They've tried to do it with Yaz, and to an extent you could argue it came back in the Chris Chibnall era because of Graham and Ryan.
Yeah.
Which, I think, that was quite strong. I think a lot of that is, I love Bradley Walsh, but I think that was.
I think
really
he's a phenomenal actor. I really think they need to give Bradley Walsh more dramatic. Just as a
Definitely.
sidebar, I think Bradley Walsh is a good dramatic actor. And
I mean, the one issue I had is that I think because you have Ryan and Graham being able to bounce off each other so much, it definitely pushed Yaz to the side. But who knows? We've got series 13, so hopefully she'll, as the experienced companion out of the duo who are going to be there, hoping she'll get to shine a lot more. But when they introduced Yaz's family, I wanted to see more. I wanted to kind of. I think the one thing I liked about the Russel Davies era a lot is that it very much introduced the whole. It showed this is what happens when the Doctor's world impacts into mundane life, and I like the idea. It shows the ramifications because I know we got like spin-off like in books and audios and stuff that kind of delve into how this affects like companions, families, and stuff like that. But in terms of like the core show, I think it was just done so well, like with the family dynamic, and it gave us Wilfred Mott. God bless Wilf.
Oh God, yeah, he. And I mean, one of the episodes that I really love, even though I consider it's definitely filler and it's definitely fluffy, is the Caretaker, because I do like seeing that going back and forth. And I have written fan fictions where I'm like, what do I, if I'm traveling with the Doctor and we go to my parents' house and we're sitting down for dinner and they ask me, what did you do today? And I spent the day running from a 3-headed dragon that was breathing venom at me. And I'm like, I
do want to say, just going on to that, I remember when you sent me one of the scripts you had written, and one little touch I loved is when you had like, saying to the Doctor, what about my anxiety meds? So I need to pick them up. Like, I'm just like, I like that. I like that whole idea of mixing the real world into Doctor Who.
Yeah, because that's kind of what there is, for my money, when you have a good, there is, and one of the reasons I love going to Disney World so much, if you spend too much time in reality, you're going to be depressed. If you spend too much time in fantasy, you're going to miss the good stuff that happens in reality. You need that mix. You need to know that it's not always, even in fiction, it isn't always sunshine. In science fiction, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. There's a reason people remember Artax. There's a reason people remember the death of Spock.
Oh God!
I had to say it. Jed. I'm sorry.
You've hit the Trekkie hard.
But
did you ever fucking see? Oh God! When Leonard Nimoy died, there was a whole bagpipe band doing Amazing Grace at a convention. It was, oh my God!
No, I remember when Carrie Fisher passed at Hollywood Studios on one of the Star Wars nights. Everyone held their lightsabers up in the air, and it's because and it's more than it is. I mean, that is the death of an actual person, but the fact of the matter is, sci-fi is strongest when there is that real element, when there is that feel of, this could happen to me. Now you have the counter argument of, what if the main character is a blank slate? Well, we're not going to get into that. It is very much where, one of the things about, even the 11th Doctor's relationship with the Pawns, a married couple, and how this married couple interacts with this random man who just comes into their life. And after a certain point, I'm not going to get on that high horse on the moment, but it's platonic, and that's beautiful. That's real. When there are elements, I will go dark for a minute before I shut up. One of the episodes that I know gets a lot of criticism for the villain is when they go back in time to the 1950s. Rose and the Doctor, Rose and 10th Doctor.
Oh, Idiot Stanton.
And that episode is very, very personal for me because of the way it showed domestic abuse. And seeing the Doctor not take any of that shit meant a lot to me, because I didn't have someone who stood up for me in that way. So to see that and think, would someone go back in time and do that for me? Russell T. Davies.
I'm just going to say this right now on a serious note. If I had a time machine, I'd do that for you straight away in a heartbeat, Katie. But we love you. I know there's obviously distance, but we're all here, and I genuinely mean that. We are literally a message away, and COVID be damned, I will fill out all the paperwork. I will get on a plane if need be.
But I think bottom line, I think sci-fi is strongest with that. I went off on the longest tangent. I
think it's a great point.
I think you make a very valid point. I think for me, to a certain extent, I had problems with the groundedness of the Russell T. Davies era. I think there's a balance to be struck between grounding it so that you can relate to the characters and remembering that it's a sci-fi show and you're allowed to go a bit wacky with it. Like Doctor Who, a common criticism of the first series of Revived Who was that every single episode was either on Earth or on a space station orbiting Earth, which, and that there weren't very many alien planets. And I think Doctor Who, especially in recent, the last 6 years, has been able to be a bit more wacky and out there with the places you go, the worlds that you see and stuff. And I think that's a great thing. The problem is, what we're talking about right now is the Russell T. Davies era at a completely different period of televisual history with completely different restrictions and limitations. And he had the job of bringing back the show after a period of 15 years where it had become a fucking joke. Now we are seeing Russell T. Davies arguably taking the show on at a point where, okay, it's not the best it's been in the last 15 years. Let's be clear. The ratings aren't at their best. The public eye isn't at its best. But we're seeing him take on the show at a point where it's been going on for quite a while, and he's not having to kickstart the baton. He's taking the baton. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now. What does Russell T. Davies do when Russell T. Davies doesn't have to worry about being the first dude to do this shit?
But it's also that amazing thing of hindsight, though. So I've seen interviews with Stephen Moffat, for example, where he's gone, oh yeah, The Beast Below was a bit of a mess, or stuff like that. So it makes me think you're going to have Russell T. Davies coming back, having done this before, so he can look like what was I happy with what I did last time? What would I change? And I think that's going to be quite interesting to see him come and revisit. But again, I think just watching him as a writer, if you I'm going to go back from Mr. Sin. When I watched It's a Sin, I have never finished it yet. I need to. I know I have sinned for not finishing It's a Sin, but just watching that and the story and just watching the writing of it, it's fantastic. And it makes me think that is the man who is coming back to write Doctor Who. I am just and I don't know why, but for some reason, Russell T. Davies, the man who I think, regardless of your opinion, regardless of anyone's opinion, I think we can all agree, he brought back Doctor Who for the modern age. Having the godfather of modern Who come back for the 60th, writing the 60th. I'm really excited to see what he does, because one thing I've quite liked about Russell T. Davies as a writer, he was able to do fan service, but not in a way that alienates people. It was always done so when I first watched, Utopia, Sound of the Drums, Last of the Time Lords, all that, I had never seen a classic Master story, but I didn't feel that I needed to. I was able to enjoy it and really love it. And now obviously going back and watching loads of the classics and seeing, the different Masters and stuff and becoming obsessed with the Master, especially that handsome blonde one on TikTok. I definitely think, it adds to it.
Handsome blonde, handsome redhead. I'm in the Master. Missy.
But one's just a little bit more shirtless than the other. But
you've seen Missy with the shirt off?
Oh! I mean, I'm sure some people wouldn't mind that.
So I'm going to go on to the final topic here, which it relates to what we were saying, but the 60th then, so the way they described it, the way it seems, and we could be wrong here, nothing is concrete, nothing has officially been confirmed, but the way it was described in the release of Russell T. Davies, coming back, it does make it sound like there's going to be a special. So this just makes me think, how do we want this? Because as much as, if it was me personally, I would have loved the anniversary to be Jodie's regeneration. I think that would have been a nice way to go about it. But because everyone's saying, oh, we want like Jodie, Peter, and all this back for the 60th with the new Doctor, assuming, you know, this will be the new Doctor's first story. And
Right.
the only reason I'm a bit, and it does make me think, so if the assumption's right, you know, we've got the 3 specials and Jodie regenerates in the 3rd one, that means the very, you know, next episode will be the 60th, because the way it's been marketed, it sounds like there's not going to be a series. It will be the special, and then we'll probably get series 14. Like I said, nothing's been officially confirmed with that, but that's just the way it's seeming at the moment. So it makes me think, as much as I want Jodie in the anniversary, it's almost like if this is the 14th Doctor's first story, it almost feels like if you have Jodie in it in a really significant way, at least, you know, if she's there like prime Doctor, it does feel like, could this risk overshadowing the new Doctor?
Okay. So this is what I personally think they might do. Russell T Davies has gone on record as saying that he thinks there should be a Marvel-style spin-off Who universe. He was doing it.
I agree.
He was doing it with Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures. He's made the comment that he was doing it 10 years too early. He thinks that's something that they should be doing now. I personally think it's entirely possible we won't get 14 in the anniversary special. We might just get, you know, the whole team. We might start with the setup of, you know, start setting up other stuff. We might, you know, get a spin-off with the Ruth Doctor. We might get spin-offs with whole new Doctors. We might, and this is a really fucking radical idea. Russell, feel free to steal this if you ever happen to watch this shit. It might be a case that rather than get one new Doctor, we split off and we get 100. We get split off and get loads of different ones. We abandon chronology. We abandon chronology entirely, and
that's Doctor Who.
Exactly, and you know what?
There is a. I'm really sorry to interrupt, but there's a picture of there's a action figure photographer that I follow called, I think, Runa's Photography, and there's a photo of the 8th Doctor. This was before like Night of the Doctor and stuff came out and the War Doctor existed, but the 8th Doctor regenerating by one of the cracks, like from series 5, and he wrote this like post saying, "Oh, because it was canon in one of the books, it mentions how there are 3 different versions of the 9th Doctor, who at the time were the Schalke Doctor, the Rowan Atkinson, Curse of Fatal Death Doctor, and Christopher Eccleston." Again, this was before, you know, the War Doctor was a thing. And he said, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if the Doctor regenerated by a crack and it split off all of these timelines?" So it could work. I'm not.
I mean, the thing is, do you know one funny thing that Russell said was about, you know, the joke about having Tennant and Smith in a spin-off series together? Yeah, that was actually a thing they offered to do.
Yes, I want that. Sorry.
No. Sorry, they offered to do it around about the time of the 50th. They said to Moffat, yeah, like, I'll do half the episodes, Dave will do half the episodes, you know, let's have that. Thing is, why the fuck couldn't we do that? Why the fuck couldn't we have like limited series with?
Why couldn't we have Jodie go off and do a couple of episodes still?
It's
why
almost
not
like
both? Why not both? Why
couldn't there hypothetically be, you know, the Doctor finds herself in an alternate universe where she's being played by a girl from Chicago?
I'm for this. Also,
I mean, to be fair,
Russell, if you are listening, Russell, I'm just saying, 8th Doctor spin-off.
8th Doctor spin-off. Whoa, there's an echo in here. 8th Doctor spin-off.
Give us the 8th Doctor spin-off.
8th Doctor
One
spin-off.
thing, though, I think, so if we go, like I said, no, with the comments Russell T Davies has made, like in recent interviews and stuff, you know, Jed's right. It could be completely unexpected to how we would view a traditional Doctor anniversary. But
and he has the freedom to do that as well, which is nice.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting. It'd be good to try something new. But if I'm going with if this was, say, a multi-Doctor story, this is how I'd have Jodie be in it. You have the 14th Doctor trying to find his, her, or their selves, and you have Jodie be there as an echo kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. That's how you do it.
She's giving, like, she's almost giving like the little, like, oh, I'm just here to give you a push just while you're there. Like, like when you're a kid and you're trying to ride a bike, your parents are like pushing, like holding the bike and pushing to let you go. That is what Jodie's Doctor is. So you can have a bee in the anniversary in a significant way, but in a way that doesn't feel like it's overshadowing the new Doctor, because I think that's the one risk that you could run.
I'm not telling you how to be me. I'm letting you know it's okay to be you.
Katie, I love you.
Let's get Katie Haynes. Everybody, let's just get Katie to be the 14th Doctor.
At 14.
I mean, to be fair, actually,
no. You want something that'll generate more hate than a female Doctor, an American Doctor.
Also, to be fair, you do look quite similar to Jodie, so there would be There's I've gotten requests from people who have said, "Will you be your own original Doctor?" And own original master, yes. But, and I apologize, I haven't recorded anything for that yet, guys. You can hate me as much as you want.
We love you, it's fine.
This character, this Doctor, I am going to be getting a tattoo in, God forbid my parents hear this, but I am going to be getting a tattoo in Gallifreyan over my chest that says 13 is my second heart, because this is the Doctor that means the universe to me. Just if I carry a Doctor's light, I carry 13's light with an accent of 11 and 8. But Jed, you carry the classic Doctor's light. George, you carry the light of 8.
Yeah, like 8 and 12 means so much to me. So I get how important 13 is to you.
Yeah. So I don't know if I would want to be like my own original Doctor, because there might be too much of Jodie influence in there.
You wouldn't. You probably wouldn't want to play the Doctor on TV anyway, because. And here's the thing: being a fan Doctor, you get a lot more control over the shit you get to do.
Exactly.
I mean,
I don't get to write your material. 3 fan Doctors,
and you only have control over 1.5 of them, technically. Yeah. It's fine. It's all good.
It's all good.
But no, I think it will definitely be interesting. Personally, if it was up to me, I'd love, you get David Bradley back as the first Doctor. You get Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, and if you can, you try and get 10, 11, and 12. Obviously, there have been interviews where maybe Peter wouldn't come back, maybe they wouldn't come back for a while, which is fine. But if that was my dream team, yeah, I think that'd be quite good to have.
And please, sweet almighty Lord God in heaven, can we, if there is a spinoff, can we please, sweet God in heaven, give us a master set spinoff? I want Missy to have her own series. I want Sasha to have, I will not sell my soul, but at least part of it would go to having Missy and Sasha having their own independent series. As well as
this master.
I swear by Missy and Sasha. No disrespect to any of the other masters, but I swear by those two. And Big Finish. Sweet, holy God in heaven. How incredible would it be if we got a Yana spinoff?
Shall I tell you something? Okay. To end off on that tangent, shall I tell you something really sweet that I read once on Reddit about Jacoby and the Master?
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, he really, really likes playing the Master because Patrick Stewart is one of his contemporaries. He obviously has Picard and Magneto. Ian McKellen's got Gandalf. Patrick Stewart's got Xavier, not Magneto. Ian McKellen's got Magneto and Gandalf.
Ian McKellen's got Magneto.
Yeah, but Derek Jacobi's never had that one character that's like a big fandom thing that he's going to be remembered for forever.
Right.
He loves playing the Master for that precise reason. He loves the idea that that's his. So you know what? Give us a live-action War Master, God damn it!
Yes!
Live-action War Master!
Sweet God in heaven, give us the live-action War Master.
So I think just to end this now,
I feel like we've just bombarded Russell T. Davis with the entire including
we can write. I will shine your shoes.
I will throw 2 more actors in there for the love of God. I need an episode with Michael Sheen.
Yes.
And I need an episode where Ian McKellen is not just a voiceover.
Ian McKellen, not just a big snow globe.
Yes.
But yes, so I think we can all agree, regardless of opinions, Doctor Who's got a very interesting future ahead, and I think I'm definitely excited. So, thank you for joining the very first ever episode of the Instability podcast. I know we went on a few tangents, but it's been a lot of fun, and I think it was good to just have a chat. Thank you to my lovely guests, Katie and Jed. Guys, you want to plug any social medias you have? If you want to follow you, where can we find you guys?
I could plug stuff. Oh, you first.
Jed. No, Jed, you first. You started.
Oh, God. I am Jed was here pretty much everywhere, except for YouTube, where I've got the Long Barrow Brothers fan series. I've got the Man at the Desk Productions fan series. On my own channel, where I'm just Jed Rhodes, I've got... Give me a second. I'm going to blow everyone's minds with this number, because every time I tell people this, they're like, what the fuck? So, my personal YouTube channel, where I put all music and stuff, 623 videos, most of which is original music or covers of stuff. 623. So if you lot are out there making fan series and stuff,
hire him. His music is incredible.
Trust me, I have hired him, and
yeah. So I'm here. I do stuff. I exist. But oh no, on a more serious note, go fucking follow Katie and George, you bastards! What the fuck are you doing?
Katie, on that note, where can we find you?
On TikTok, which is my primary channel, you can find me at KatieGAngel44. Here's a little note. Most people, and my Instagram account is actually Gabriel's Angel. Or Katie Gangel. It's also Katie Gangel, just no 44. The G Angel is actually in reference to one of my original usernames, Gabriel's Angel, which is in reference to Van Helsing.
Nice.
God, you are brilliant. But honestly, thank you to two of the most wonderful people I could ever have on a first episode here. Any other links will be in the description below, and hopefully we'll do more of these, because this was a lot of fun. But
can I say one last thing before you sign off?
Of course you can.
Jodie and Big Finish now! Woo!
All of them in Big Finish now. Bring in Matt. Bring in Peter.
Us in Big Finish now.
Oh, I wish.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining.
Bye.
Bye-bye.